Welcome back to our concluding panel discussion. I welcome Sebastian Müller, Oliver Pieper, Heinz-Günther Lux, Dr. Günther Dobrautz, and our chairman, Philipp Sandner, to our panel on the question, will blockchain-based euro payments drive industrial digital transformation? The stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Marcel. Once again, another panel on the digital euro, digital programmable euro, and so on. We also have Günther here from Switzerland, so we can also talk about the digital Swiss franc, which is also being developed here and there. But before we start, maybe please everybody give a quick introduction about yourself, your company, and maybe your general perspective on the topic. Heinz-Günther, would you like to get started?
Yes, thank you very much, Philipp. My name is Heinz-Günther Lux. I'm from Evonik Digital. We are a chemical company, but in fact, we are driving the usage of digital euro in applications in the industrial area. And my view is we have realized a very successful use case just recently together with BASF Commerzbank. And for sure, we see the potential of the digital euro for the industry.
Excellent. Yes, indeed. Evonik is really leading this field with their with this project, for example, on the digital euro. Oliver, would you like to take over from the other chemicals perspective?
Sorry, you are on mute, Oliver.
Okay, then Sebastian.
Sorry. So thank you, Philipp, for the chance. My name is Oliver Pieper. I'm with BASF, this since more than 10 years. BASF, obviously, we're also creating chemistry like Evonik. I'm in the position of senior project manager at Global Business Services and driving since a while different digitalization topics. Generally, what's my position? Yes, the question is, or today's statement of the session is, will it drive? I think it will foster the further digitalization in the industry. But let's see. I'm open for the discussion. I'm very curious. Thank you.
Excellent. Then maybe Sebastian, what about you?
Thank you, Philipp. Yes, my name is Sebastian Müller. I'm a senior project manager from Commerce Business Consulting. And I have the honor to drive everything but when it comes about programmable money, cash on ledger for Commerzbank. And I'm very glad to be here because we have, as Heinz already said, one very interesting case recently closed. And I think everything else is said when you look at that case because we really believe in the power of blockchain and the use of programmable money to create new business models and new products for our customers.
Perfect. And finally, Günther from PwC in Switzerland.
Perfect. So my name is Günther Dobrautz. I'm a partner with PwC in Zurich, Switzerland, where I'm leading PwC Legal. And in that role, I've had the privilege, I must say, over the past 5 years to work with a big part of the Swiss crypto valley, as it's been called, but which is going way, way beyond now. So we're indeed seeing companies like here in Germany come to the table developing things. And obviously, you hinted on that already. There's a lot of endeavors being done by many of them players, and I'm very happy to introduce some of them.
Yeah, perfect. So thanks very much. To get started, maybe Heinz-Günther, could you quickly describe what have you been doing together with, in this case, Commerzbank and also BASF? Why did you do it? Why the digital euro? And was the focus on process automation, higher efficiency, cross-border payment, or whatever? Why did you do it, and why do you think it's a beneficial business case?
Yeah, first of all, when we got aware of the potential opportunities with programmable money, programmable euro in that case, we immediately had ideas at BASF and Evonik together that we can use that for a lot of work which is done today manually or will be done with some digital tools. But in fact, the basic problem can be solved here. And we are talking about the data which are required to make invoice verification process, to give the approval of that, and finally to make the booking in the system and the payment. And here, this was a driver for us that we said we have a great potential to use the programmable euro to connect the ERP system in between with a blockchain here from the Commerzbank, and to really put the data from system to system via the blockchain and the digital euro back into the system. So we have a closed loop of data. We have a closed loop of payments here outside of the typical banking system. And in fact, that gave us quite a number of opportunities. One of them is for sure that we have a stable and a sure system of data quality.
Excellent. Maybe Sebastian, you might add on this because what I truly like with this use case is you did not wait for the ECB to take action, right? This would have taken years, maybe longer.
Yes.
Instead, you simply did it, and you're basically experimenting with such use cases in quite a while. Why is Commerzbank doing this? And maybe you also add your perspective on the use case.
Yes, thank you, Philip. Well, we started in 2016 putting blockchain on our agenda as one of the most emerging technologies which are relevant for the financial sector. And therefore, we did several use cases. One, for example, together with Daimler Trucks, where we put a truck on the charging station in a situation where he could charge and automatically pay with our solution, with our programmable money solution. And we built on this solution, this basic idea, because we really think this is a technology which can enable our customers to be, for example, more efficient in their processes, as we see in our case together with BASF and Evonik. Or maybe we can also enable new technologies to fulfill their job, as we saw it in the case together with Daimler Trucks, where machines interacted with each other. And this is something that you cannot do with the current payment infrastructure. This is something you cannot do with SEPA or Visa, because you do not have the capabilities, the idea, the structure, the technique of the blockchain technology. We create one point of single truth where everything comes together. The payment, the processes, the customers, everything is at one place. And this is something what we really believe in as Commerzbank, and I think it is something that we also experience in the talks with our customers, that they see this as a chance for them to improve, to become better, and things like this.
Excellent. The key point here I would like to really emphasize is that the blockchain as one point of truth is basically trying to reconcile colliding interests from a supplier and from the customer, because of course the supplier has like the exact different interests than the customer, at least interests might collide, and therefore it does make sense to have like a single source of truth in the middle, right? I wanted to emphasize this point. But Günther, what about Switzerland? Switzerland, we all know from the crypto valley, and we see a very progressive regulation there. This is all very, very interesting and fascinating. But what's happening in the corporate world? Do you also have similar projects over there, moving the Swiss franc on blockchain systems driven by the central bank, other banks? You also have amazing industrial corporations there. What's happening in Switzerland in this field?
Well, thanks for the interesting question, right? And indeed, I think we're well known for the crypto world, because Ethereum and all of those beautiful things, Tesos, Cardano, and so forth, they are based in Switzerland. And obviously, we got licensed banks such as Signum and Seba and so forth. And they've also kind of come together and created, indeed, versions of digital Swiss franc. It's a stable coin, and with many others players as well. But the really interesting part that we are seeing right now is indeed that the industry is moving into that space. So yes, we are seeing pharma companies, companies bring basically elements for car producing and so forth moving there. And the interesting thing is that it's on the one hand startups, real startups, people who have seen it in the industry going out, creating their own, but also the established industry itself going there.
Okay, excellent. So, and maybe back to you, Heinz. We talked about supply chain networks, ecosystems, and so on, because apparently, well, at least for the last 10 or 20 years of business, like consulting companies, Accenture, and so on, they typically try to make processes more efficient, and then you take out one step of the process here and plug in another, digital technology to increase the efficiency by 0.5%. But why is what you're doing here differently? I think it's much more than like getting 0.5 efficiency out of the process, right? What's happening here, and is this also associated with the slow speed that we see that not like any second German company is doing similar projects. This is not happening yet.
Yeah, first of all, to understand the real business world, where is it coming from? It's coming from two business partners who made an agreement, and this agreement will be executed. In the old days, it was done by paper, manually. Now came ERP system, SAP, but in fact, these systems are designed exactly according to the process, which were the manual process before. So the organization, the thinking, the mindset of people using the ERP system is exactly the same way as before. A sequential process, everybody's doing his job, and when he's ready, he's giving his data further on. When we come now to blockchain technology, first of all, the data are protected. This means protected data can be shared outside of the ERP systems in real time. And if you can do that, you can really change the way of working from all the individuals, because you're not depending anymore from getting data from somebody else until he's ready. And this is a huge change. The challenge is that people and organizational and even the ERP systems are structured in a solid way, put it that way, to make really changes happening. And here to think completely different from the process and what is the purpose of the process. This is required in order to make this big change. It's a long journey, definitely, but it will, from my point of view, definitely come because there are so many different forces driving this, not only from the finance area, from the supply chain area, but also the government side, the tech side, the custom side, and so on. Many different players have an interest in using this technology. This will be a real game changer.
Okay, Günther, would you agree here, and or how can we speed up this process? Should we wait for the government to push us, which will not happen probably? Should we, I don't know, wait for senior managers to provide more budget and so on? What's the key here? How can we leverage such large-scale ecosystems, which are really difficult to build?
Well, first of all, it's my personal opinion here, right? But you're kind of throwing me right into the middle of a huge discussion that's been going on for almost 100 years, right? Of how do you get real innovation out? So do you get the big push and regulation and so forth, which is beautiful, but which comes later. And I think we're still too early for that. So I think it's really individuals who should be leading that, who should be doing that. And then later the industry will catch up. And it's great to see those companies in Germany, right? That's kind of showing that really big companies are getting in and really pushing that. But overall, as a whole, I think it really needs the individuals to do it.
Yeah, excellent. Oliver, what's your take on this? Was it also a very long journey for BASF to basically connect multiple departments, to align interests and so on? That I think this is not easy in a huge corporation involving so many people. Do you think this went quite well, or would you think that?
Yeah, it went quite well. That's a good message. I mean, it was not expected from my side that it went this kind of well, because at the end we are coming with a new technology. It's a disruptive approach. We are also hitting the comfort zone of the departments. Heinz mentioned it, the way of how people are interacting, working, the mindset. We are also all touching all these things, yeah, and coming with a proposal, what means a lot of change. But we had some very good partners. I think Heinz could also confirm it for his organization, but also within my organization. I think you need open-minded people. You must be aware about who to ask. We were in the lucky situation that we could drive it. It was a surprise for me how good it went, right?
And I guess you also need some pushy people who are really pushing things forward, but you don't need to comment on this. It's just an assumption.
But you're right, yes.
Perfect. So where are future use cases? Because so far, for example, what you have done was happening in Europe, probably a transaction from Germany to Germany. But if we think of international money transfers, Evonik is having international business, BASF as well. What's going on in this direction? Is there also plans for leveraging this technology for cross-border payments? Because the benefit could be even higher there, right?
I mean, that's a question to Sebastian, right, from the Commerzbank.
I would take over it if it's okay for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's definitely a perspective. Currently, we are focusing on our strengths and our regulation, and yeah, that's why we are actually currently on short term. I would say we are focusing on the Eurozone, on Germany especially, because this is our playing field. This is where we have the regulation ready and we are prepared. We have control about everything. And I have to say, we heard the colleagues before today and the last days, there are changes currently coming up. Mika is knocking on our door. This is a game changer. The ECB is getting more concrete in their ideas regarding the digital euro, and there is a big discussion going on. So to be honest, I would say that's my personal opinion. I have to say that I think we are good staying where we are, because this is the situation which we are in control of, and we have enough use cases here in place. And but I have to say, I'm pretty sure that we're developing very strong, and we will see how we overcome the cross-border situation in the coming years.
Yeah, and Philip, nevertheless, you address the question to me, and if you are asking if we as an organization are interested in, yes, we are. Let's say also before we were able to show already this very good results as outcome of our joint pilot here, there was a high interest of our businesses, sales managers, seeing what is possible, and always combined with the question, is cross-border possible too? So it is interesting, but that's potentially not the next development step we will make jointly together with Commerzbank.
Yeah, it will take, of course, much more time. That you can't do this overnight. But you have Günther here in the call from Switzerland, so maybe you can transport some chemicals to PwC, and then you have directly cross-border case within this panel, right? Just joking. Okay, perfect. What can we do to help companies to adopt these approaches with a higher dynamic? Is it about education? Is it about the right people in other companies? Do we need to educate the senior management? Is Bitcoin a problem because of the reputation of the past? Günther, maybe this question is well addressed to you. What can we do to speed up this development, to also convince and show to other companies, industrials out there, that there is something they should look at?
I think you already mentioned most of the parts. I think the really important one is education, because here we are still at the freaks show. We have to be honest, right? And obviously we like each other and it's a good freaks show. But reality is if we go out on the street and if we ask anybody, the reaction will just be, oh, it's all about Bitcoin and it's about going on the dark web and having something not so well done, right? Which obviously is stupid. This is like thinking about the internet in 1997. So there is a lot of education going on. And I think the best thing we can do is basically to do our stuff and show people how it's really being done.
Okay. And maybe one of the last questions we have, could you imagine, for example, also connecting a stable coin, the US dollar stable coin, Tether or USDC, that you're connecting this stable coin to industrial processes? Or is this totally not possible because it would be outside the existing system, it would be outside the Commerzbank account, it might work, but it's outside the accounting systems, outside the banking system, and so on. So reasons why this would not be possible. Or could you imagine that it is possible? Maybe Heinz, I think this would be very nice, a nice question for you.
Yeah, various aspects. First of all, BASF, Evonik, we are global companies. We are working all over the world. And if we see that the US dollar is digital available, definitely we will make use of the digital US dollar like we have done it now with a tokenized euro here with Commerzbank. But we hope that the European banking system will find a way to interoperate the blockchain and the digital euro before the European Central Bank has finally decided to bring out their digital euro here. And there are a lot of hurdles which have to be overcome. And I hope that really the chance is there that the banks can find a way to exchange the euro in their system.
Yeah. Thanks very much. I think there was a...
Philip?
Yes,
sorry,
Oliver,
before
please.
We are closing, one final wish. If it's allowed, we would like to send a few regards to a very good friend and essential member of our joint project, because Ralf Kare, he's with me at BASF and he's one of the further genius and brains behind this project. So thank you, Ralf. And yeah, we will continue this journey. Thanks. Sorry, Philip.
No, Oliver, this is
interrupt.
very, very important because you need to motivate people to basically do the next project, right?
He needs no motivation. But anyways,
Perfect.
he's so
Just
driven.
joking.
Anyways, but no,
Okay.
what's important. Thank you, Philip.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
And what is the key message here? There is something there. The digital programmable euro does work. It's not diffused to a broad group of industrials yet, but it will come probably. And I think we had a very, very interesting discussion with Swiss perspective and also industrial perspective. And I think these projects will really drive the future, and we will see much more in the next years. Thanks very much. And I give the word back over to Marcel.